Please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another updates from my YouTube channel. Hello friends, today I'm going to talk about how to integrate Spring Cloud with AWS SQS, that is simple queue service. In the last video I have discussed about Spring Boot RESTful CRUD API using AWS DynamoDB. And so if you want to learn Spring Boot with AWS, okay, so here I have a couple of videos which are available in single playlist. So I'm going to attach this AWS playlist in my video description. You can get it from there. And let's go to AWS management console. So here you will find a couple of services. Now I'm going to work with SQS. Let's search with SQS here and let's click on that. So Amazon SQS, a message queuing service. Okay, so how it works, they have provided one architecture diagram. So here we have a producer which will send the message to the SQS. The SQS will store the messages and wait for the consumers to poll. We have like long poll and the short poll, and consumers are, so this is the consumers. Messages are processed by the applications, Lambda functions, easy to instance, and other AWS services. Okay, and coming to the benefits and the features, we have like couple of benefits and the features, so you can just go through this. And coming to the use cases, we have two top companies are using this. One is EMS, another one is NASA. Okay, EMS is a petroleum retailer in Australia. Okay, and so if you want to work with the Amazon SQS, let's create one queue. Click on this create queue. So here we have two things. One is standard queue, another one is before queue. Okay, so coming to the standard queue, at least once delivery message ordering isn't preserved. So standard queue is like message delivered at least once to the consumer, and message ordering it won't preserve. And coming to the before queue, so your message is delivered exactly once to the consumer. Okay, and but it's coming to the order, message ordering is preserved, and but this before is like first in first out delivery. Okay, and coming to the name, so let's provide some name here. Okay, so let's provide my standard queue here. So first of all, I'm going to work with standard queue, and after that I'm going to explain about the before queue as well. And this is the name of my standard queue. And coming to the configurations, so here we have a couple of configurations. One is visibility timeout. Here coming to the visibility timeout, it's a time period in which only one consumer can access the messages in the queue, and during that visibility timeout no other consumer can access the same message. Okay, so that is the timeout. That default visibility timeout is 30 seconds here. Okay, if you want to change, you can change here. Okay, and after that we have message retention period. So what is the message retention period? It is a maximum amount of time the message stored in a SQS queue. Okay, so here it's provided like 4 days. So it will store like maximum 4 days before SQS delete it. Okay, and if any other consumer won't consume that messages, so what the SQL will does is, okay, it's going to be delete that message, whatever that mention that retention period. So after that only it's going to be deleted. Okay, so for example, no consumer pull the messages within the 4 days, so after that SQS automatically delete the messages in the queue. And coming to the delivery delay, so the delivery delay is it is the amount of time to first delivery of the each message. Okay, so it should be between like 0 to 15 minutes here. So if you want to provide like some delivery delay, so you can provide here. Okay, so let's say, so if you provide like 15 seconds here, after 15 seconds only it's available to that consumer to consume that message. And but I'm going to use 0 seconds only. And maximum message size, so this is 256, that is default size. So should be between like 1 KB to 256 KB. And here we have like receive message waiting time. Okay, so this should be like 0 to 20 seconds. If you want to like provide like some receive message waiting time, so you can provide here. And coming to the access policy, here we have to define who can access the queue. So here like we have two things. One is basic, another one is advanced. Advanced is going to use the JSON object but I'm not going to use the advanced here, so I'm going to use the basic here. And here we can define like who can send the message to the queue. So only the queue owner, or like only the specific AWS accounts, are like IAM users and the roles. So only the queue owner means you are the queue owner, you are going to create the queue, so that is the reason you have to pick like this. And like if you have like any other like specified AWS accounts or IAM users or roles, you can specify here and can access your queue. And same thing will applicable for this receiving the message from the queue also. Okay, and coming to the encryption, so encryption will have like so the Amazon SQS provide like in transit encryption by default. Okay, so to add like this encryption, basically this server side it's going to be enable the encryption. Okay, by default it is disabled, so if you want to enable, you can enable here. And coming to dead letter queue, so if you click on this information, so you will get some information here. So what is exactly the dead letter queue? So a message can't be consumed successfully. Okay, if a message can't consumed successfully, you can send it to the dead letter queue. So dead letter queue will let you isolate the problematic message to determine why they are failing. Okay, basically they are going to be examined, so why that message are failed. Okay, and if you want to enable this, so if you want to enable, so you have to provide like one queue name, so that is existing queue name. Okay, you can provide here. So if any messages are failed, so that message are it's automatically sent to the dead letter queue, and they are going to be examined, so what is the problematic and why it's failed. So all the stuff they are going to be get it by using that queue messages. And I'm not going to enable this, I'm going to disable this, and this is also I'm going to disable. Here we have tags, so basically if you want to add like tags, you can add the tags. So I'm not going to adding any tags here. Okay, let's create queue. Okay, queue is created successfully. Okay, to access these queues, basically we need like in programmatic access, basically we need IAM groups and the users. Okay, so let's create such IAM. Okay, so here we have user groups, users and the roles and the policies. Let's click on the user groups. Okay, in my previous video I have created like Spring Boot CRUD API with DynamoDB. Okay, so for that like I have created one group and one user to access the DynamoDB programmatically. Same way I'm going to create one more group to access this SQS queue. Okay, so I'm going to take SQS group here. And we need to provide like permission policies here. Okay, administrator access. Okay, so this is the administrator access we need, and after that we need Amazon EC2 full access. Okay, that's it. And let's create the group, and group is created. Come to users, so let's add the user here. I'm going to take username as SQS user. Okay, I'm going to access this user programmatically by using programmatic access here. So access type I'm going to take programmatic access here. Let's click on next permissions. So I need a SQS group here. Let's click on the tags. Tags is not required. Let's click on the review. Okay, so it's taking SQS group, that's fine. And let's click on create user. Okay, so it's created, guys. So this is my Spring initializer. So let's take some group name, and I'm going to take Spring Cloud SQS. Otherwise I will take Spring Boot SQS, and let's add few dependencies. One is web dependency, another one is Lombok for setters and getters. Okay, let's generate this project, and you can import into your IDE. Okay, let's import into my IDE. Okay, I imported this into my IDE, guys. let's open source main, and before that let's open pom.xml file. So here we need to add two dependencies. Okay, one is like Spring Cloud Starter AWS and Spring Cloud Starter AWS messaging, okay, to work with AWS SQS. Let's refresh this Maven to download the dependencies. Okay, dependencies are downloaded now. So what I'm going to do is, first of all we need SQS configuration. Okay, so inside the config directory I'm going to create SQS configuration. Okay, let's maximize this. So let's annotate with @configuration here. Okay, and after that, so we need like two things here. One is private string access key, private string secret key. Okay, so we need access key and the secret key, and after that, okay, we have to define one message template here. Okay, that is queuing message template. Okay, this queuing message template is going to be take Amazon SQS async. Okay, and so let's return new queuing message template. Okay, so here I'm going to build the Amazon SQS here. Okay, so let's take Amazon SQS async one method. Okay, so this method I'm going to create here. So this method is basically going to be return Amazon SQS async client builder. Okay, so which will have method standard, and after that we need to provide the region information here. Okay, the region information is US East 1. Okay, so my region is this one, and after that we have to provide credentials. So with credentials I'm going to provide here. Okay, so that is new AWS static credentials provider. Okay, so this credentials, so we have a basic AWS credentials. Let's take credentials and new, we have basic credentials. This is going to be access key and secret key. Okay, so that's it. So you can provide these credentials here. Simple, right? So here we need to build this. Okay, so our Amazon SQS async method is ready now. Okay, so this configuration is ready. So here we have to access, so this access key and secret key from application.properties file. So to use that we have @value to access this access key and the secret key from the application properties. Okay, so let's provide, so let's go to, let's copy this, paste here. Okay, and go to project, open the resources in the application.yaml file. Okay, so I have added like some properties here related to this AWS SQS. Okay, so here cloud AWS region, so static region name is, we have to provide the region name. Okay, my region name is US East 1. Okay, so from where we have to get it region name I will show you guys. And auto false and stack auto, this is related to EC2 instance. Okay, to disable the EC2 instance we have to provide this, and after that credentials, access key and the secret key. Okay, go to your IAM. So just now we have created user, right? So you can just copy that access key ID and paste here, and come back to your secret key, click on show and copy this and come back here and paste here. Okay, and we have SQS, right? So let's go to SQS. So this is my SQS, right? So if you see here, my region is US Vista. Okay, so that's what I have mentioned here, and the same thing I have mentioned in my configuration file as well. Okay, and let's go back to application.yaml file, and here we need endpoint, right? So to get the endpoint, let's click on this queue, and this is my endpoint URL. Let's copy this and come back here and paste your endpoint here. Okay, now our SQS configuration file is ready now, and so we need to access this access key and secret key. So what we need to do is, here we need to provide cloud okay. So that's it guys, you can just make sure that whether it's correct or not. Okay, so this is access key and this is secret key. So that's what I have provided here, and after that we need one sender and one receiver. So first, like, let's create one sender. Okay, inside the sender package I'm going to create message sender. Okay, so this is, I'm going to be take it as a REST controller. Okay, we need to send the message, right? And after that we have to auto wire. Okay, we have to auto wire our queuing message template. Okay, so private queue messaging template. This queue message template is going to be provided by Spring Boot here. Okay, and after that, so we need a method. So public void, so let's take send method. This send method is going to be take path variable. So through the path variable I'm going to send the message. Okay, so let's take path variable name as message and string message. Okay, let's maximize this. So this is string, and let's return. Okay, so not return. So basically we need to build a message. So to build the message we have a message builder. Okay, dot with payload. So with the payload we have to provide the message here. Okay, and after that let's click on build. It's going to be provide the message, right? So let's take message, otherwise I'm going to take payload this. Okay, and here I have provided the payload, and we have another one. So if you want to provide any header, you can set the header as well. Let's say, so if you want to send the sender information, so I want to send the sender information techno town techie here. Okay, and let's take this is as a get mapping here. Okay, let's take some endpoint information, that is send, and here we need to provide the path variable, so that is message, right? So that's it, and so our payload is ready now, and we need to send it through the queuing message template. Okay, so let's take queue message template dot send. So it's going to be take destination and this message. So the destination we haven't created. Okay, so basically, so we need an endpoint here, that is the destination. So let's take private string endpoint. Okay, so this endpoint I'm going to access from the application.properties. So let's take okay cloud AWS. So let's go back to our application.yaml file. Here we have endpoint.uri. Okay, endpoint.uri. That's it. Endpoint. Okay, there is a space in between this. Okay, so now we have an endpoint, and let's take this endpoint as a destination, and we have a payload. That's it. So our controller is ready now. So let's start your application. Okay, our application is started guys. Let's open Postman here. Okay, so this is my endpoint localhost 8080 and send, and I'm just sending hello world here. Okay, so this is my get mapping. Let's click on send button here. Okay, and now go back to your Amazon console, and this is my queue. Okay, and here we have a option send and receive messages. Let's click on that and come down. So here you will find, so receive messages count is 1, messages available is 1 here. So let's click on poll for messages. Okay, so it's received the message. Let's click on that. So here you will see the message, okay, hello world. And let's click on details. So here you will find like some details related to SQS ID, size and MD5 of the message body. Okay, and here we have a sender account ID and all those information, and here we have body, and here we have attributes. So if you see here, we have a ID of the message, sender of the message that we have set in the header. Okay, so that is sender technotown tech key, and we have timestamp as well. Okay, so now if you want to receive this message in our console, so we need one receiver. Okay, let's write one receiver, guys. So let's create one package. Okay, inside the receiver I'm going to create message receiver. Okay, so this is going to be treated as a service. And so if you want to write as a separate application, you can write it. To save the time, I'm just writing here. Okay, let's write one method, public and void. So let's take receive. So this is going to be so message. Okay, and I'm going to use Lombok SL4J to print the message log.info. Okay, and let's take message receive here. Okay, now so we need to provide SQS listener here. Okay, this is my SQL listener, and we need to provide the queue name here. Okay, so the queue name is, let's open application.yaml file. So this is my queue. Let's copy this and come back to your receiver and let's paste here. Okay, so that's it. So restart your application. Okay, application restarted, guys. And if you see here, we got the message received hello world here. Okay, there is no space here. Okay, if you put space, you'll get it like this. Okay, hello world. Let's take one and come back here. Okay, we got it here. And if you send some other message, okay, so we are getting all the messages here. That means like it's working fine. So this is standard queue, guys. So now I want to work with P4 queue. Okay, so to work with the P4 queue, so we need to create P4 queue first. So let's go to the queues. Okay, so now we have to create one P4 queue. Okay, let's create P4 queue here. Okay, so let's click on create queue. Here we have option P4. So let's take my P4 queue. So the naming convention should end with .p4. Okay, and after that, so the configurations, so here we have a content based duplication. So if we enable this, so basically if you want to work with P4 queues, basically we need two things. One is like group ID and deduplication ID. So the deduplication ID will not allow the duplication messages. Okay, P4 queue, if you enable content based duplications, okay, so deduplication ID will come in as a optional ID. Okay, you no need to provide like deduplication ID while you're sending your messages. And so here we have deduplication scope. So deduplication scope per queue or like message group. Okay, so same thing. So before through output limit per queue or like per message group ID. Okay, here we have access policy. So we have discussed it earlier. That's fine. So let's create queue here. Queue is created successfully. Okay, now let's copy this queue and come back to your application.yaml file. Okay, so here you can provide your endpoint URL here. That's fine. So now what I'm going to do is, let's open message sender. Let's stop this. So here we have added header, right? In the header, so we have to set group ID and deduplication ID. So without that it won't work, guys. You can just remember that. So let's take, so comma, so here we need to provide at the rate of path variable, so the value, so here you need to provide group ID. Okay, group ID, and string group ID. Okay, and let's copy this and let's provide here. So here I'm going to take d loop ID. Okay, so d loop ID, this one. And now, so here we have a set header, right? So in the header we have to set message group ID. So message group ID. Okay, so the message group ID, that one, and value will be, so group ID, and you can set one more header, that is message deduplication application ID. Okay, so this is deduplication ID. Okay, so this is ready, guys. So same thing will applicable for FIFO also. The message payload and all those stuff is same for FIFO queue, but here let me add group ID and deduplication ID. Okay, and so for the time being I'm just commenting receiver here. Okay, I want to see first of all my message output on the AWS SQS queue. Then after that I will enable this receiver, guys. That is the reason I just disable that. So you can just restart your application. Application is started, guys. Go to Postman. So here we need to provide group ID and deduplication ID. Group 1, and we have deduplication ID as dedup 1. Okay, and after that I'm sending message hello world here. That's it. Okay, let's send this and test this, guys. Okay, I'm getting the error. Let's check it. Okay, so basically this should be order in that way. Okay, okay, so I just provided like message group ID and deduplication ID. Okay, that's fine. Now go back to your AWS console. Okay, so let's click on send on receive messages, and if you see here we have one message. Let's click on poll for messages. Let's click on this message. Okay, we'll see the body of the message here, and we have a details. So in the details you can find the message attribute size, and we have MD5 of the message attribute, and we have message group ID and message deduplication ID here. Okay, group ID is group 1, deduplication 1 is deduplication 1 here. So that we have provided here. And let's close this. So if you send the same message, okay, so here the message count won't be increased because we send like same message with the same deduplication ID. So that means, so this deduplication is unique identifier. Okay, so if you want to send like different message, you have to change this deduplication ID. Okay, if you poll this message, so here you will see only one message only. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this deduplication ID as dedupe2, and let's send some message, hello world. This is Hamid. Okay, let's send this, and now okay, you can see two messages because we have changed this deduplication ID. Okay, and let's click on this. See this, hello world, this is Hamid, and the details, so you will see the deduplication ID as 2 here, and that is the difference guys. And come back to your code, we need to write receiver, right? Okay, so we need to receive the message, so go to receiver and enable our receiver here. Okay, so this is my receiver. Here we need to provide our queue name here. Okay, let's go back to your application.yaml file. So from there you can get it, your queue. So this is your P4 queue. Sorry guys, copy this and come back to your receiver. You can provide your P4 queue here. And after that, so if you want to add like some deletion policy here, okay, so we have a deletion policy. So that deletion policy basically, so let's maximize this SQS message deletion policy. So how, so once your message is received, so how you want to be deleted? It has to be deleted always, or like it has to be deleted on success. We have a couple of options. So I need like once it is successfully received, then it has to be deleted on the queue. Okay, so that's it. So now you can restart your application and you will see the messages here. Okay, so here I got the message guys. Okay, hello world, this is Hamid, and hello world, I got the 2 messages. Okay, that means it's working fine. So if you like this video, so please go ahead and like. If you haven't subscribed my YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thanks, bye.